If you like the Note and you want a tablet format, this is the device for you. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1. With this versus the iPad, which one is the best tablet to go with? We'll find out in the full video review, but first, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us smartphones for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game, which we give to you at instantwin.phonedog.com. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, your contacts, your settings, and more. So when you walk out the door, you're good to go at Best Buy Mobile. Here we go, part one, video review, Galaxy Note 10.1. Let's check it out. When it comes to tablets, I'm really impressed with the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1, and one of the reasons is it brings a lot of the functionality of the device, the smartphone, or the phablet, if you want to call it, the Galaxy Note, and to a lesser extent the Galaxy Note 2, which is coming in November, to the Note 10.1. So it brings it to a 10.1-inch tablet form factor, and it's these things that I think have been needed in tablets for a long time because, let's be honest, even the iPad doesn't do great when it comes to content creation, when it comes to bringing out a pen, jotting down notes. You know, that's something that the iPad, at least I don't think of the iPad when I think of that. There's no pen capability out of the gate, and what I think, they're going with this, and the value proposition with this is multitasking and content creation when it comes to the S Pen. I think this can be really useful for people, whether they're in meetings, they're in class, for college, whatever the case may be. I can see a lot of practical uses out of the S Pen with some of the features they can do. But this is the Galaxy Note. This is the Wi-Fi version and the 16GB version. It's available for $499.99, and it packs a 1.4 gigahertz quad-core Exynos processor, a 10.1-inch display over here with 800 by 1280 pixels. You've got a camera on the back, as you can see here, and then you've got a camera on the front as well, front-facing camera. Speakers on the front here, so totally different design. Doesn't look at anything like the iPad. It's kind of a response to the lawsuit stuff, most likely. The back is nice, and definitely it's a plasticky feel. I mean, it's got that same feel as you would expect from a Galaxy Note, a Galaxy Note 2, a Galaxy S3. Typical Samsung plasticky feel. That's going to be a love-hate thing when you compare this to something like the new iPad, which has, kind of a glass and a metal feel to it. It has much more of a solid feel. That said, when you drop an iPad, you never know if it's going to break or not, whereas with this, the plastic, one would at least hope that it would hold its ground a little bit more. Power button up here, volume rocker up top, micro SD card slot. I've got the S Pen in my hand, obviously, which goes in right here on the device. 3.5mm headphone jack, and an infrared port as well. On the front, 1.9 megapixel camera. The back camera has 5 megapixels with 720p HD video recording. So it's running Android 4.0. I think this is the first tablet, or first version of Android in general, that really competes and does a great job with iOS and some of the other contenders on the market in terms of the tablet space. Honeycomb was decent. Honeycomb was almost there in the tablet space. Ice Cream Sandwich really brings it home, and to an even greater extent, Jelly Bean, which hopefully we'll see roll out on some of these tablets soon. You can find it now on the Asus Nexus 7. So out of the gate, because it's a Wi-Fi device, not a carrier-based device, you get a few applications out of the gate, but no carrier stuff. You get Barnes & Noble Nook, you get Crayon Physics, you get Dropbox. What else here? Game Hub. All of Samsung stuff is Game Hub, Music Player, which is obviously the music player, but you can see Samsung's icons in a lot of cases have been transposed over these. And you can see S-Note, which we'll talk about in part 2. Smart Remote. What else? Textbooks. You got Galaxy Note 10.1 screensaver. I downloaded FlightAware because that's a pretty useful application, and I'm a big aviation buff. But some Samsung stuff out of the gate, and that's about it. And down here you got your on-screen buttons, back, home, recent applications, which you can either use the S Pen for or your finger, and then you have the button down here for screen capture, where you can quickly take a screen capture and draw on it using the note capabilities. Now down here as well, notifications, your clock, your always on thing. I'll show you this in just a second. But then you've got your notification settings, your brightness settings, and of course you've got these that you can scroll around with, much like on the Galaxy S3 and the Galaxy Note 2. Your quick settings, Wi-Fi on, battery indicator right there, and then I can go into settings and take a look at some of the features. So a lot of the features from the Galaxy S3 have come over onto this. So I really wouldn't compare this as much to the Galaxy Note, despite the fact that it has note-taking features, as I would the Galaxy S3 because of some of the unique functionality. So we'll come in here to wallpaper, for example, or motion, and I can show you it's got the motion stuff, tilt to zoom. I can turn this on, or when I tilt it to zoom, and I'll do that. Let's see, move the icon. So we'll turn that on. I'll show you that in the web browser in just a second. Battery percentage indicator is already on. And then down through here, actually, we'll go to display, go to font style, font size. We can make the font a little bit smaller here. And then go to screen mode, quick launch, and I have the soft keys to open applications. Screen capture right now is the quick key. Got applications if I want to. Can access my applications from there. And I can change that key around and really make it my own. So those kind of customization options that I'm really impressed with. So go back to settings, and we'll keep going down through here. Display, and we'll go to Smart Stay, which screen stays on. That's what that is. Smart Stay is checked. So screen stays on as long as you're looking at it. It basically detects that you're viewing the display and keeps the display on. Music Hub is a Samsung widget, which I did not mean to move it that way. Let's get that deleted. And you can see you can add widgets and remove those pretty easily on any of the 7 home screens. Now, much like the devices, pinch out to bring up the 7 home screens. I can add additional home screens here, or to total 7 rather. I only had 6 at the moment. I can go back here and go to the home screen. I can set this as my home screen if I want to, which it's already set. And I actually want to move this there so it's perfectly even, as you can see up here, and I can easily scroll between those up here at the top. So very functional. I love the S Pen. There are a lot of nifty new features on this as well, which we'll talk about. Actually, we'll talk about this right now. We'll go to S Note first of all. I'm going to cover this in part 1 instead of part 2. So we'll go to cancel, and we'll bring up a new note, for example. Bring up a note. Let's say you're in a meeting and you want to jot down some notes. Well, not only can you type, and I'll show you this. Not only can you type on Samsung's keypad, 10.1 inch display here means it's going to be relatively easy to type on, and of course you can use it in landscape mode as well. And the good thing about the 10.1 inch form factor is you can thumb to thumb it, bring those fingers in, and type pretty easily because of the length of the device itself. So they also bring in a nice wealth of multitasking features here. So let's say you're in the middle of a note and you need to do something like check a calculator, where you can click that button in the middle. You can activate an alarm, a calculator, an email, music player, S Note, S Planner, Task Manager, or World Clock. So it's like I'm trying to do whatever, lease termination, and I'm like, how much is this lease termination going to cost me? Bring up calculator, 5 plus 5. It's going to cost me $10. And so I can go from there and I can either get rid of that and go straight into the calculator, or I can go back into my S-Memo or my S-Note and I can do the same thing, as you can see here, calculator, but then I can get rid of it when I'm done. So it's going to cost me $10, which is unrealistic, and a lease termination will never cost you $10. Take it from somebody with experience. But just for sake of arguing it, those features are very nice. So I can come in here as well, and we'll take a look at multi-screen in just a second, but I can do my whole thing. I can type, I can do notes, and I can customize the look and feel and the size. Go to green here. Hey there. And go up here, record the sketching. So if I record the sketching, people can watch me sketch stuff out. They can see how I made this cloud and how I made it so beautiful. For example, they can go through and see the step-by-step portions of the drawing. Another great feature is this. I really like this part of it. Formula match, shape match, and handwriting to text. So I can say, yo, and it'll automatically translate that to text. Shape match is nice if I'm in a class or I'm in a meeting where I need to draw shapes for a building or do something of that nature. It'll customize the look and feel of those shapes for me. It makes it pretty quick and pretty easy to do there. Also, formula match is pretty nifty as well if you're in a class or you're doing something quickly. 5 plus 5 equals, and then I can insert, and I can bring it down in text form down in there. So a lot of neat features on this, as well as an eraser. The multi-screen is pretty functional as well because you've got a nice big 10.1 inch display. And you're like, what do I need to maximize, or what do I need to do to maximize this 10.1 inches? Well, for multi-screen, I can add in the internet, the video player, Polaris Office, gallery, or email. So let's say I'm typing out something or writing out something. I'm like, I need to check the internet on something. I can bring up internet in the second half of the screen. So this is the first device where I really feel like it's built around productivity. So iOS is very great in a lot of ways. It's great in the fluidity department. It's great in the overall look and feel. It's been around for a while, and so it's pretty quick and easy to use, and that's nice. But we'll go into PhoneDog.com, for example, to do our pinch to zoom test, and I can bring this up over here while I'm still typing over on this side. So this type of functionality is very, very useful to me. And there are plenty of times I know I'm on a tablet, and this is probably the historical issue I've had with tablets, is it's like I'm in the middle of doing something, I've got to cancel out, I've got to go to the browser, I've got to cancel out, I've got to go back to the note, or go back to whatever it is I'm doing. With this, you can bring it up in split screens. Very functional, surprisingly functional, actually, and something I'm really impressed with. Why is PhoneDog taking so long to load? Let's bring that up. I am on a Wi-Fi or on a hotspot connection with the Galaxy Note, so that could be what's going on. My office has historically not been the best when it comes to wireless connectivity, but then when you're done with it, you can either get rid of multi-screen. So let's say I'm ready to go with the browser, or I can switch windows if I want to, bring over the browser over here. I can change it around, switch it to something else. Gallery, email, if I'm tired of this. It's like I need to check the gallery to see about a picture I just took. Hit gallery, and it'll bring up gallery over here. And when I'm done with that, I can hit done, and it brings the multi-screen mode out and then brings it back to just the browser. And you can do this in quite a few of the Samsung applications, like the browser, gallery, obviously email, places like that. You'll obviously find I can bring in video player if I wanted to do that, but I don't want to bring in video player. I'm done. And you can see the videos, much like the Galaxy Note 2 and the Galaxy S3, will play in the background. As you can see there, that's a pretty nifty feature. And you also see that in the Galaxy Note 2 with Android 4.1. So browser's loading up right now. Pinch to zoom, relatively responsive here with little to no lag. You can see in portrait mode, equally responsive, nice and quick all around. And again, the multitasking features of this device make it pretty great when it comes to using the pen, when it comes to typing, or when it comes to looking up something on the fly.